Vergangene Woche wurdest du zu Hause von einer bewaffneten FBI-Einheit überfallen, die bei dir eine Hausdurchsuchung durchgeführt hat. Du wirst angeklagt, ein ausländischer Agent zu sein, insbesondere weil du auch Artikel in russischen Medien veröffentlichst und angeblich Geld aus Russland bekommst. In den sozialen Medien wird auch diskutiert, ob die Hausdurchsuchung möglicherweise eine Reaktion war auf deine israelkritischen Beiträge. Wie hast du die Hausdurchsuchung erlebt und was entgegnest du diesen Vorwürfen?
Well, I mean, it's a very unpleasant experience to have a couple dozen armed FBI agents. Understand that they're all armed. I mean, they're law enforcement officers, so the fact that they are carrying weapons is just part and parcel of their normal duties. It's not because of anything. And I will say this: the FBI agents involved in the search were very professional and very courteous, and very considerate of my reality. You know, they didn't storm in and shoot my dogs. They gave me the opportunity for me to put my dogs outside, even though one of them, a puppy, refused to be captured. And so the FBI said, just let him run around. And they were very professional in their questioning, et cetera. This wasn't, I mean, the search, the execution of a search warrant is not a pleasant experience, but I can't say this was a hostile act. I can't say that the people that came in here were hostile to me, and they were very professional, very courteous, very polite. And so I guess you could take this extraordinarily unpleasant experience and say they made it as pleasant as possible. But it still was very unpleasant. Yeah, they made it clear from the start that there were people in the U.S. government that were concerned about my activities, and they felt that my activities were in violation of the Foreign Agent Registration Act. I asked them over and over again, give me one example, and they couldn't. They couldn't. I said, just tell me what it is you think that's happening. You know, first of all, let's make a thing here. Allegedly paid by Russia. I am a outside contributor to a number of journalistic outlets around the world. Around the world. I'm an independent journalist with an emphasis on independent. I am my own boss. I work for nobody. If I want to write something, I write it. If I don't want to write something, I don't write it. If I want to do an interview, I do it. If I don't want to do an interview, I don't do it. I do this with you. I don't get a damn penny from you. I do this because I think it's important to reach out to a German audience. I made that decision. At any time I decide that I don't want to do this, guess what? It ain't happening. The idea that you control me or anybody controls me, that people direct me, is the most absurd thing in the world. One of the harshest criticisms people can put at me is that I can't be controlled. You can't control me. It's impossible. My wife argues that all the time. Pick up your clothes, clean up the house. You know, I'm uncontrollable. But the notion that the Russian government controls me is an insult in the extreme. And I said that to the FBI agents. I pointed to I have a doormat. It's a United States Marine Corps doormat, the symbol. And I said, what part of that makes you think I would ever take instruction from a foreign government? What part of a man who took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, would make you think I would ever take instructions from the Russian government? I mean, I was insulted, and I continue to be insulted by this, but that's their belief. Now, how did they get this belief is a very important question. First of all, let's go back. I just want to point this out. I publish articles in RT. I am compensated for those articles. Just like I publish articles in consortium news in the United States. I am compensated for that. This is not a crime, not even close. And for those people out there who talk about, does it upset you? Okay, I don't care. Are you opposed to this? I don't care. Why? Because I'm not breaking the law. I have a similar relationship with Sputnik. I contribute videos and written articles. I get compensated for that work as a journalist, an outside contributor. Does this piss people off in America and around the world? Maybe. I don't care. It's not illegal, and it doesn't make me a foreign agent. It makes me a working journalist. And the idea that the FBI gets to determine what journalism is a frontal assault on the Constitution of the United States, free press and free speech. Now I can't take direction or be under the control of the Russian government, but I'm not taking direction. That's called journalism. If an RT editor says, Scott, Vladimir Putin gave a speech today, we'd like your take on this. This is not direction of the Russian government. This is an editor putting out an idea. Now, I have the option of saying, no, I don't want to do it. Or I have the option of saying, yeah, I'll do it, but here's my take. They can't come back and say, well, we're not happy with your take. You have to change it. That would be control. They either choose not to publish it, which is their option. I'm an outside contributor. I'm not a staff member. Or they can publish it. Editors are allowed to say, hey, what's your sourcing for this? What's your backup for this? How did you get this information? Why did you say that? This is legitimate editorial relationship. I have it with everybody. I have to say that RT and Sputnik had the lowest fingerprint of editorial control. I have Western editors that literally want to get into my brain and understand what the synapses are doing when I write something. Which is their right, their duty. They're responsible for what's published on their page. They have a right to ask questions. But the editorial touch from RT and Sputnik is the lightest editorial touch imaginable. So the notion that they control me is absurd. And if you're upset with the fact that I earn an income, it's not a big income. It's actually a very minor part of my income. They pay. I'm not allowed to say what they pay. That's in the contract. But I can say that they pay a rate that is consistent with the going rate of other outlets. They aren't paying me outlandish amount of money, and they're not paying me, a pittance. What you get for an article is the going rate. So anybody, it's called journalism. It's called the reality. So the idea that I'm being controlled is absurd. But I told the FBI that I'm not under the control of the Russian government. I tried to answer their questions. They couldn't give me any examples of where I was in violation. But they did seize my computers. They did seize my cell phone. I mean, I'm on a new computer. They cost me a couple $1,000s. I had to go out and buy all new stuff. It is what it is. Why did they do this? Was this an initiative of the United States internally? Or was this something driven? The FARA unit, the Foreign Agent Registration Act unit, enforcement unit in the Department of Justice, says on its website that they primarily receive complaints and then they investigate these complaints. So now the question is, where did these complaints come from? I know that there's a whole bunch of what we call NAFO trolls, the North Atlantic Fellas Organization. A bunch of losers hiding in the basements of their mothers, who troll the internet and attack anybody who takes what they call a pro-Russian stance. And just so you know, I mean, Solovyov, the Russian on-air host, very popular, Vladimir Solovyov. He asked me once. He said, "Why do you take a pro-Russian stance?" And I got I can't say angry, but I said, "I'm not pro-Russian. I'm pro-American. I just happen to believe that it's in the best interest of the United States to have good relations with Russia, to avoid a nuclear war, and to promote arms control. But I do it not because I'm trying to help Russia. I do it because I'm trying to help my own country." And that's the point. So I'm not pro-Russian, but there's many people out there who believe I am, and so they file complaints. But the U.S. attorneys and the FBI agents should be smart enough to see through this crap. This is political. This isn't about a technical issue of the law. This is 100% political. And I would like to find out at some point in time where the complaint come from. Did this come from the Ukrainian government? Well, we know that the FBI has worked with the Ukrainian government in the past, with the Ukrainian intelligence service, to target the social media accounts of journalists that the Ukrainian government opposes to. We know this because the House Judiciary Committee of the United States Congress has revealed this reality, that the FBI operating in Kiev receives complaints from the Ukrainians and then violates the First Amendment free speech rights of Americans by targeting those social media accounts to close them, not because the United States government has a problem because the Ukrainian government has opposed. We also know that the State Department has funded the Centering for Countering Disinformation, an office working under the presidency of Ukraine, and that they have put me on a blacklist created by the State Department, but implemented by the Ukrainian government. They've called me an information terrorist, and they've marked me for death. I'm on several death lists, including a list published by the Ukrainian Center for Countering Disinformation, funded and supported and actively implemented by the State Department of the United States. The Center for Countering Disinformation has listed me as the top propagandist, Russian propagandist. I'm the most dangerous man in the world. Did they tell the State Department to shut me down? I don't know. I'd like to know. I'd like to know where these complaints came from. But I will tell you this. Under no circumstances have I done anything that violates the Foreign Agent Registration Act. I am not working at the behest of the Russian government. I'm not taking direction from the Russian government. I'm not paid by the Russian government to do anything. I am an uncontrollable American citizen. You can't control me. No one can control me. I do what I want to do, and I do it because I believe in the cause of peace. This apparently bothers some people, and they're trying to shut me down. And I think that this raid was designed to chill free speech, because clearly I haven't committed a crime. Had I committed a crime, I would have been led away in handcuffs. So they're just fishing for stuff. They're not going to find anything. I think they're looking for evidence of covert communication between me and the Russians. They're not going to find it because it doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. But what they've done is they've created a problem now. People who may have wanted to come to this big anti-nuclear rally that I'm helping promote in Kingston, New York on September 28th, will say, well, God, we can't go because Scott Ritter's a Russian agent. People who may have published my work might say, well, we can't publish his work because he's a Russian agent. This is a deliberate tactic done by the United States government to have a chilling effect on my ability to promote the ideas that I've been promoting, ideas related solely to peace and the prevention of nuclear war. Apparently, that makes you an enemy of the United States nowadays.
Nach der Hausdurchsuchung hast du öffentlich erklärt, die US-Regierung hat mir den Krieg erklärt. Und du machtest deutlich, dass du die Herausforderung annehmen wirst und planst, den Krieg zu gewinnen. Kannst du bitte erklären, was du genau damit meinst? Warum siehst du die Anklage gegen dich als Kriegserklärung und wie willst du den Krieg gegen die US-Regierung gewinnen?
Well, one of the people need to understand I come from a military background. And so I tend to couch things in military terms. When I joined the military, I took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I feel anybody in the United States, whether you're a sworn law enforcement officer, a government official, whatever, who operates in violation of the Constitution, who actively seeks to suppress the constitutional rights of American citizens without justification, is an enemy of the United States. So I'm sorry, FBI. Again, I said the people that were here were professional. But you're trying to silence my First Amendment right of free speech. You're trying to impede the ability of a journalist to participate in the notion of a free press. This is an act of war. We've said so when other nations do it. You interfere with the American process, you're attacking America. That's the language we use. I'm being attacked right now. My constitutional right of free speech, free association, and participation in a free press is being frontally assaulted by the United States government. It's an act of war. So I take up the challenge. Now, how will I respond? By using the Constitution that I took an oath to uphold and defend. It is my friend. It is my ally. It is my shield. It is my resource. Now, some people say I'm foolish to believe in this because, the history of the United States government is that they run roughshod over the Constitution. That may be, and they may run roughshod over the Constitution with me as well. But I'm not going to go down without a fight. If the United States government wants a First Amendment fight over this issue, they have one. I will not yield. I will not back away. I have done nothing wrong. I have committed no crime. I am not a foreign agent. I haven't violated the Foreign Agent Registration Act. I'm a loyal American, a patriotic American. Everything I've done has been to the betterment of my nation. It is my duty and responsibility as an American citizen to do this, not to sit on my ass on the couch and shut up. That's not what free speech is about. Free speech is about when you see something wrong, do something about it, especially if what's being done wrong is being done by the officials you elected to higher office to represent you in your name. You must hold them to account, every single one of them, from the president on down. And that's what I'm going to do. So if they want to fight, they got it.
Lass uns beim Thema Pressefreiheit bleiben. Ein weiteres prägnantes Beispiel ist das am Montag gehaltene Interview zwischen dem US-Präsidentschaftskandidaten Donald Trump und dem US-Milliardär und Eigentümer der Plattform X, Elon Musk. Direkt nach dessen Ausstrahlung wetterte zum Beispiel die EU, dass es überhaupt öffentlich stattgefunden habe. Der EU-Kommissar für Binnenmarkt und Dienstleistungen der Europäischen Union, Thierry Breton, erklärte, es handele sich dabei um gefährlichen Inhalt, der zu Gewalt, Hass und Rassismus aufrufen könne. Dagegen müssten effektive Maßnahmen eingeleitet werden. Was ist deine Meinung dazu? Ist ein Interview zwischen Trump und Musk ein gefährlicher Inhalt? Gefährlich für wen? Und was sagt das über die Pressefreiheit in der EU aus?
The EU needs to get the hell out of America's business. It's none of your damn business. You want to make it your business, then hopefully America will turn on you. Basically, you saying that you disagree with the Constitution. That makes you an enemy of America. I would hope that the United States government would turn on the EU and say, cease and desist right now, or we will go to war against you. You want a war with America? You want a war with Americans? That's what you get. The free speech issue in America is fundamental to who we are. And you want to stick your nose in our business about free speech? Fine. Let's do this. You want war? We'll give you war. I'll tell you what, I will not rest until the EU is dismantled piece by piece by piece if they're going to make as one of their primary causes attacking the free speech of Americans. That makes the EU and everybody who is a participant in the EU an enemy of the United States of America. What part of I won't tolerate it from my government don't you understand? And now you're going to sit there from your little high perch in Brussels and pretend that you can somehow reach in and control the content of free speech in America? Pound sand. Really, this is just the stupidest thing in the world. Who the hell do they think they are? Who the hell do they think they are? And who do they think they're messing with? This is the United States of America. I know there's many people out there that think that we're a tottering empire going down. No, we're a nation of the greatest people in the world because we have an idea and a value that is premised on a constitution that contains one of the most important concepts, free speech, and you're attacking it? Are you stupid? Are you an idiot? The answer is yes to both.
Donald Trump hingegen behauptete, sein Interview mit Elon Musk sei ein Jahrhundert-Interview gewesen. Wie bewertest du das? Und warum werden gerade Trump und Musk als so gefährlich eingestuft für das Establishment in den USA und der EU?
Free speech doesn't mean good speech. It doesn't mean correct speech. It doesn't mean wise speech. And Donald Trump's interview with Elon Musk is a reminder that just because you have the right to say something, maybe you shouldn't. It's not the interview of the century. Donald Trump is a delusional old man who has issues with grandeur, but that's an American problem. I want to remind the EU that this is an American problem. We alone get to decide these issues. We alone get to determine whether or not we want to support him politically or support Kamala Harris, who has similar issues. I mean, America's not in a good position on this election. We have two very bad choices, but it's a choice we alone get to make. You can sit there and criticize all you want. Nobody's above criticism. The EU or whatever, they can sit there and say, this was a ridiculous interview. This was this. That's your right. You can have that. Everybody's right to an opinion. But the moment you try to interfere, the moment you try to reach in and manipulate what's going on inside the United States, then you got a problem with me and hopefully with 340 million other Americans who are proud of the fact that we are empowered with the right to vote, that we get to make this decision on election day about who we want to support. We don't give a flying you-know-what about what the EU thinks. We don't care. You don't get to vote. If you don't get to vote on November 5th, you don't matter. So get the hell out of the way. Look, Donald Trump gets to say what Donald Trump wants to say. Elon Musk gets to do what Elon Musk wants to do. That is the right of American citizens empowered with free speech. We don't have to like what they say. We don't have to agree with what they say. And we are certainly able to criticize what they say. We, the people of the United States of America. EU, sit down and shut up.